Welcome to Cybersecurity Today. I'm Jim Wiggins, here to deliver the most critical updates in computer security. Over the next 30 minutes, we will provide an in-depth report on some of the latest developments and as well as expert insight from the cybersecurity landscape. If this is your first time joining us, welcome to the program. Cybersecurity Today blends the format of a talk show with the news broadcast designed to cater to a broad audience ranging from cybersecurity newcomers to seasoned experts. For beginners, we offer essential knowledge and actionable advice to safeguard your digital space. For professionals, we present in-depth analysis and the latest insights from industry leaders. As we begin today's broadcast, our goal is to ensure that the content is both informative and engaging. We hope that you find today's show insightful and worthwhile. In our first segment, we call this Cyber Bites. We're going to focus on the latest developments and events shaping the cybersecurity landscape, from significant data breaches to emerging threats. This segment is key for those aiming to stay informed about the fast-paced changes in this evolving field. With a comprehensive agenda ahead, we're ready to provide these critical updates. Stay tuned as we bring you the most important insights shaping cybersecurity today. In our second segment, we're pleased to welcome Mr. Evgeniy Kharam, an expert in the field of cybersecurity as well as cybersecurity sales. With years of experience in technical sales, Mr. Kharam has developed a unique approach that emphasizes the importance of soft skills in building trust and effectively communicating with clients. Today, he will be discussing architecting success, the art of soft skills in technical sales, focusing on how emotional intelligence, listening techniques, and tailored communication strategies can enhance relationships with clients and close deals. His insights are invaluable for understanding how to bridge the gap between technical expertise and clients that have needs in the cybersecurity landscape. Let's delve into the Cyber Bite segment and explore the latest happenings in the cybersecurity industry. A new botnet malware dubbed Gorilla has been discovered launching over 300,000 distributed denial of service or DDoS attacks in 100 countries between September 4th and September 27th, 2024. Identified by cybersecurity firm NS Focus, Gorilla botnet primarily targets sectors such as universities, governments, and financial institutions in countries including the US, China, Canada, and Germany. Using various DDoS attack methods, it exploits vulnerabilities in IoT devices and cloud hosting platforms while maintaining long-term control through advanced counter-detection techniques. Researchers note that the botnet's activities have been ongoing for over a year. In other news, Apple has released urgent updates for iOS and iPadOS to address a significant vulnerability in the VoiceOver feature, which could allow users' saved passwords to be read aloud. The flaw, tracked as CVE 2024-44204, affects various iPhone and iPads and was discovered by security researcher Bisrat Daha. Another issue impacting iPhone 16 models was also fixed, which allowed audio to be recorded before the microphone indicator was turned on. Users are advised to update to iOS 18.0.1 and iPad's iOS 18.0.1 to protect against these vulnerabilities. That wraps up our Cyber Bite segment. After a brief break, we'll return with Mr. Evgeniy Kharam to explore architecting success, the art of soft skills in technical sales. Stay with us as we delve into the critical role of soft skills in cybersecurity sales and how they help build trust and communicate complex solutions. We'll be back shortly with more expert insights.
Hello, I'm Patrick Kennedy. Last year, more of our military members died by suicide than from combat. Anyone can experience stress after a traumatic event. It's up to each of us to let our veterans know they don't have to suffer in silence. Remember, mental illness is an issue of chemistry, not character. Learn how to be an advocate for change at psychiatry.org/mental-health.
A public service message from the American Psychiatric Association.
Welcome back to Cybersecurity Today. We're pleased to introduce Mr. Evgeniy Kharam, a distinguished cybersecurity architect and consultant with extensive industry experience. Evgeniy has held pivotal roles, including Vice President of Architecture at the Harjavec Group, and currently runs his own consulting firm, EK Cyber and Media Consulting. He is also an author, podcaster, and board advisor, widely known for his insights on security architecture and technical sales. Today, he will be sharing his expertise on architecting success, the art of soft skills in technical sales, focusing on the critical role of communication and emotional intelligence in building trust and closing deals in cybersecurity. Evgeniy's experience and vision makes him a key figure in the industry. Evgeniy, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the welcome and warm introduction. Very, very happy to be here today.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, I thought maybe what we could start off with is having you talk a little bit about soft skills and maybe provide context on how soft skills enhance the effectiveness of closing deals or of at least trying to communicate in the cybersecurity space. Can we start there?
Definitely. I'll do a step back and just quickly explain what I see the soft skills, because a lot of people ask, what does it mean? And a quick definition, if you take hard skills, it could be mathematics, it could be coding, it could be something that we learning how to do, and we expect a very similar outcome most of the time. Soft skills, on the other hand, are a bit different because it's a very dynamic. It's related to communications. It's related to human being, and the outcome could be very, very different. And we're talking about closing deals, and we're talking about talking to customers. Everything can change. The customer may have a bad day, and suddenly everything goes somewhere else, to hell, if I may say this, excuse my French. Or you can have a very good day, and then the deal will move forward. As a practitioner, as a salesperson, as a sales engineer, you need to be very keen to understand what's happening with the customer, what's happening dynamically. Is he still going to the right direction, or something changed and you need to inquire? So this is one of the important parts of why soft skills matter in communication in general, and especially in sales.
So let's build a little bit upon that. So talk to me a little bit about how those communication skills, how those soft skills could play when you're dealing with organizations that are concerned about security risk. Can you talk about that for a minute?
This is a great example. When we talk about security risk, it's usually something could be very technical. It could be something that involves many different graphs. You need to explain how we got to this risk. And we need to explain this risk to board of directors, to the C-level people that potentially don't understand all the nice graphs you have there. And this is where soft skills will have a humongous play. You will need to understand the technical expertise. You will need to create metaphors, analogies on why we have this graph and from where it's coming. And we will need to talk the language they understand and stuff they do day by day. This could be analogy of the house. We have a door, we have a window, we have a roof, we have a camera, we have a fence, we have a dog, and many other things that we can explain in different words.
Understood, understood. So then how do you bridge that gap and build that kind of trust element that I think you're kind of alluding to with clients when they're concerned about, different types of cyber threats that are out there, good day, bad day, however you want to characterize it, and then ultimately get to solutions that help them?
First of all, we need to be human. So we need to have a conversation. Even right now, before you and me started to record, we didn't jump into business. We spoke about life, we spoke about hobbies. You mentioned about hockey, I mentioned about what I like to do. It was a conversation. So we open up. And by having a conversation, by understanding who you are, what you do, we're establishing a rapport. We're establishing a very thin line that connect between us. And now what we need to do is make this line bigger, that our communication will become better as well, and an understanding will become better as well. And by having this communication, I can tap and start to understand who you are, how you consume information, what motivates you, what kind of analogies, metaphors I can create that it will be easy for you to understand. I can also understand your technical expertise. And the moment we have connections, the moment we understand that we're a human being, I can also ask for clarifications. I can ask for guidance. I can say, excuse me, can you explain this better? Or can I guide you here? Or can you guide me how better I can understand or explain this to you? But this requires building blocks. I cannot do it whole. I cannot do it right away.
Understood, understood. So let's assume for a moment that those building block elements are in place. You've established rapport with the individual that you're communicating with. How do you then ultimately, from a communication perspective, start to explain the urgency around cybersecurity issues in non-technical speak to decision makers so that they can you can help them solve their problems? Any thoughts?
Yes, I definitely have to turn it around and explain to what they care about. And in most cases, it's going to be business. How's cybersecurity helping the business? I don't want to be just a cost factor. Oh, you have to do that and it'll cost you XYZ. I need to explain by doing cyber, by applying cyber, by having a better cybersecurity program, by doing potentially better policies, understanding procedures, buying a solution, architecting everything together will make the business more resilient, make the business move forward. In many cases, unfortunately, it's a scare tactic as well. Because as an example, Mr. Customer, if you lose your connectivity, if you not be able to provide the service you're supposed to provide to your customers, how much money would you lose? A minute, a day, an hour? By doing this, you can explain and relay the information in the way that oh, so if I don't have the backups, I'm not able to do the XYZ. If I don't have a DR scenario, I'm not able to serve my customers. If I'm not able to serve my customers, I'm going to lose money. I'm not going to make money, and I'm going to be out of the job, potentially. So you're referring back to business.
Understood, understood. As part of our introduction, we talked about, the importance or the focus around areas like emotional intelligence. I'm curious from a communication perspective, how does that help? And how do you then cultivate competence in emotional intelligence to help communicate with clients and their concerns around cybersecurity risks?
There's two parts here. And I think in one point we have to talk about that we move to talk digitally. We move to talk about Zooms, Google Meets and Teams that impacting this part as well. But by definition, if I have an agenda in mind and I want to do something and I don't have the emotional intelligence to understand that my agenda is not working, the way I'm explaining stuff is not going anywhere, I'm not paying attention to the cues, I'm not paying attention to what you're telling me, it's not going to work. As an example, we have this idea when we ask somebody, how you doing? And doesn't matter what they say amazing, amazing, because you're not listening. And there were studies saying that people in the morning asking how you doing, and people say amazingly bad, or I had a horrible night, and people don't even listen because they ask you the question because this is what's supposed to be asked. This is the polite society. We're doing stuff for a checkbox, not because we care. And this is where the emotional intelligence will play. You need to actually care about your customer. You want to listen and actively listen to understand what they're saying and pivot to what's happening in the conversation.
Understood, understood. Let's build on top of that for a moment if we could. So let's assume a client comes to you and says, I've got serious concerns. I'm worried about data breaches or other kinds of cyber threats that are out there. How does that emotional intelligence and how does that conversation unfold? And how do you ultimately help them through that connection to ultimately create, solutions that will help address their issues?
First of all, I'm glad that people actually come and say the concern. In many cases, we need to explain to them why they should be concerned. Second, when a customer comes and says a concern, we'll go on a different directions. I'll personally ask the customer, this is amazing, or thank you very much, you're asking me for your help. Let's see what we can do. Do you want to explain to me why you're concerned? Is this because somebody told you? Is this because you have certain compliance you need to do? And we can go through things. I can guide you on what I think need to be done, or you can explain to me and we will figure out together where do you want to take this? Because it's definitely depend on the customer. Some customer wants to be in control of the conversation, and some customer will take the chair, like the chair back and like, hey, drive me, tell me what to do. But I need to understand what kind of person you are before I start driving or listening.
So you just brought up listening. That's kind of the next segment that I wanted to ask you a little bit about. So again, they come to you and they're talking about their pain points. How do you identify those pain points? And again, any thoughts on how listening plays a role relative to that solutioning piece?
This is a combination between listening and asking questions. But you want to ask questions not in a closed type questions, in an open type question. I'm not asking you what is your favorite color. I don't know what's your favorite color.
My favorite color is blue.
Blue, but it didn't move me anywhere. But I can ask you, can you please describe me your favorite color and why? So now you're going to open up and you explain why you got to blue. So when your customer asking, I have concern, I can ask, okay, what concern? Describe the concern. Where do you see the area? What's important in the business? What are the crown jewels in the business? This way we can have a better holistic approach and understanding what else missing. I'm probably going to also go and ask the person, thank you for the information you provided. I want to talk to other executives. I want to understand their pain points. This way, I'm going to have a different view on the scenario and different view on where to take the business, and not just from one person's perspective.
Understood. So, one of the outcomes I would assume relative to the discussion is to ultimately help them build some kind of cybersecurity solution. Some of these solutions, I assume, can be very complex. You can talk about management systems and a litany of different technical, governance infrastructures and all those different types of things. How do you break down relatively complex solutions in communication so that all those executives that you just brought to the table can grasp their importance? Any thoughts?
I'll go back to original discussion, doing an analogy. I'll take a house, something that people are familiar with. I'm going to start giving an example from the house, for example. Vulnerability management is how you get into the window, or you see where you have holes in the window. I'll have the firewall, this is your fence. I'm going to have the camera, this is your SIM monitoring system, and many, many other different things. And we'll try to break it into the environment. I'm a visual person, so I'm going to have a diagram related and explaining how stuff works. And it's going to be high level. We don't need to go very detailed to understand IP addresses, ports, cables. We just need to explain the high level picture. And when we have the understanding, we can go deeper when it's required. In most cases, with executives, we don't need to go deeper. We're going to go deeper with managers, engineers, architects, people that want to understand how the bolts and nuts are actually working. But it's going to be an explanation and a discussion, and explaining them what's happening and listening to see if they actually understand or not. Sometimes it's hard when we're talking on Zoom and the camera is off because I don't see your eyes. I don't see your face. I don't know if you're doing that or you're closing your eyes and like, what is this guy talking about?
Yeah, understood. So it sounds like that last section we were talking about was focused at the executive level. Let's build upon what you just introduced, which is this idea of, well, what if you have to go deeper? What if you've got a variety of different, your client has a variety of different cybersecurity knowledge because of the fact that you've got managers and engineers and system administrators. How do you basically try to communicate those technical solutions to a kind of a diverse background?
What I do, and I provide my view on what I did. I first of all want to make sure that the techies know what I'm talking about. So I start talking about high level. I'll go deep and explaining some of the technical nuances that the techies will know. I know what I'm talking about, and I come back to a medium level. And then in one point, I'll say, I can go very technical or we can go high level, depend on the call. In some cases, it's a good idea that we'll do a high level call where we explain to everything, and we can do a different call when we're going to go very, very technical to make sure everybody understands and everybody know what they're getting. What I also learned that in many, many cases, I don't want to be the smartest person in the room because the other techies wants to be the smartest person in the room. And I can tell you when I was on the other side and somebody presented to me, I kind of wanted to be the smartest person in the room as well. So as a presenter, you need to give the stage to the other techies to be the smartest people in the room. You want them to feel that they making the decision, they guiding what's happening, because ego in techies is quite high.
Understood. You're getting to my next question kind of by default. And then I'm just curious in terms of when it comes to designing custom cybersecurity strategies, that engagement that we're talking about, can you speak a little bit more to that in terms of if they come to you and you identify that there are unique vulnerabilities, how does that engagement look?
It, in my mind, should be collaboration. We're working together with the customers. In most of the cases, me as an expert guiding the customer, if the customer is okay for me to be guided, and you can ask me, I'm going to guide this conversation. You can stop me anytime. I'm here for you. And in most cases, because they ask for your expertise, they're going to let you drive. Again, back to what we spoke like 10 minutes ago, you need to understand they're okay for you to be driving. And then we collaborate, we say, I'm going to propose information and propose solutions. You tell me if you make sense. And we're going to, back to building blocks, move it up and up until we have the entire solution ready. But we want to make sure we are moving step by step, building by building, building block by building block, to make sure we're not jumping too fast and too far.
Understood. So since we're talking about communicating with different tiers within an organization, I'd like to ask you, how do you adjust your communication approaches when you're talking to that executive versus when you're talking to the more highly technical staff within an organization? Any thoughts on that?
Yes, it's a combination of what we discuss. The executive, I'll go high level, I'll talk business terms, I'll explain in the language they want to be understood, or will refer back to business. With the techies, I will just talk nuts and bolts and go as techy as possible to make sure they understand and they consume the information the way they wanted to get it.
Understood. Let's talk about challenges that you might have run into. What are some of the typical challenges that you encounter when you're communicating both from a technical and cybersecurity, perspective with organizations, and how do you go about overcoming them?
Some of the challenges that we start describing, people are like, how is it different? We already have it. You're not different than anybody else we spoke to. So you're not providing this in a unique way. You're not interesting enough the way you describe this. You kind of miss the clue, miss the cue on how to talk to them, to make sure they understand, to make sure they're happy with what's happening. So this is one of the challenges we see. We definitely can see that the way describing them, you're not giving them the confidence that you or your company or your vendor or your service will meet their needs. So if you are building the rapport, if you're building the presence that they want to trust you, if you're answering in a way they want to hear, like, okay, this guy know what he's talking about, or this girl know what she's talking about, and you're like wishy-washy, yeah, I'm not sure, maybe that, maybe this, you need to be confident, you need to show presence that they can trust you. They can put, their baby in your hands and make sure you're not going to cause a baby ugly.
Understood. So that goes to the heart of the trust connection between you and the individual. What do you do when clients come to you and they say, it's too expensive or it's too complex? How do you overcome those kinds of investment discussions that I'm sure undoubtedly happen within the cyber world?
When we're talking about too complex, then we divide it to different sections and trying to understand what is complex for them. If there's something we can simplify, can we make the project longer? Can we break it to more phases to make sure it makes sense? Honestly, in some cases, if it's too complex, maybe they're not ready. Maybe we're not there yet. So we need to understand what we do is that can we do some of the parts partially to make sure it's working for them and then do the rest when they're more mature. When it's too expensive, it's a different sales tactic. Are you just trying to bring the price down, or somebody else give you the same solution cheaper? Is you sure it's the same solution? You're getting the same value from a technology perspective, from the people perspective, from customer success, from support. You're not just buying the solution, you're buying a package, service, SLA, people. There's quite a lot of stuff that get into the formula. And my job is to explain what they're getting to make sure they're happy and not just looking on the price and not forgetting the entire picture.
Understood, understood. Every guest that comes in on the show, I ask to look into their crystal ball and think about the future. I'm curious, how do you think the role of soft skills is evolving today in an area where we've got so much automation going on?
The automation and the simple things will go to AI. I need another license, patch me that, do that. There are going to be some simple things that are going to go to AI. The more complex part will not going to go to AI. It have to be human being. When it's involve multiple solutions, when it's involve multiple people, the communication part, it cannot be automated. You cannot, at least right now, AI cannot feel what you, like the tone changes, what we see, and have all the small cues to actually, we say feel. Can I feel how you're feeling? Can I feel that something change in the atmosphere? Suddenly your voice change. So the soft skills in my mind are going to be more fundamental, especially with the younger generation. Younger generation has this Facebooks, TikToks, yes, no, like, don't like, very, very not dynamic, yes or no. And there is quite a lot of dynamic conversation when it's coming to soft skills. You have to get out of the devices, get out of the connected, and actually have a communication with somebody else.
Understood, understood. Evgeniy, been a great conversation. We are out of time. Thank you so much for joining us and providing such invaluable insight for our viewers. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. It was very, very happy to be here today. Thank you.
So that's going to conclude today's episode. We extend our sincere thanks to Mr. Evgeniy Kharam for sharing his valuable insights on architecting success, the art of soft skills in technical sales. We hope that today's discussion has offered you some interesting perspective on enhancing cybersecurity strategies through effective communication and also relationship building. For more information about Cybersecurity Today and to stay up to date on future episodes, please visit our show's website at www.cybersecuritytoday.org. Additionally, you can scan the QR code displayed at the bottom of your screen for quick and easy access to our show's website. Finally, we welcome your questions or comments via email at contact@cybersecuritytoday.org. Feel free to reach out to us. We look forward to engaging with you. That does it for today. Thanks a lot for joining us. We look forward to seeing you at our next broadcast. Stay safe and stay informed.